Welcome to the Baboom Baboom podcast, your go-to source for expert tips on car stereo installation, vehicle wiring, and all things wiring related. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, we've got the advice to help you power up your ride. Get ready to crank up the volume on your knowledge and make your next wiring project a success.
All right, ready for a deep dive into something that totally changes how your music sounds.
Absolutely.
And this is something most people, I think, don't even realize is going on.
Yeah.
But once you know about it,
Right.
you can't unhear it.
It's true.
So we got to talk about speaker crossovers.
Yeah, let's do it. It's
What they
are the unsung heroes of a really good sound system.
why they matter. This is The Deep Dive.
Definitely.
I'm your host,
And I'm your guide.
and we are talking all about speaker crossovers.
Yeah, they're really cool, and a lot of people, they don't get enough credit
No.
because they're kind of hidden away. You don't really see them.
Right.
You know.
It's not like you're looking at your speaker admiring the crossover,
Right.
but it's what's making that speaker sound good.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it. What is a speaker crossover?
Okay, so in the simplest terms, a speaker crossover makes sure that the right frequencies go to the right speakers.
Okay.
So you've got your tweeters, your mid-range, and your woofers.
Yeah.
And each of those is designed to play a certain
Range.
range of frequencies, right?
Yes.
And so the crossover is like the conductor
Okay.
that's making sure that the piccolo player is not trying to play the tuba part, right?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
It's like each instrument in an orchestra is designed to play a certain range of notes. And if you try to make one instrument play outside of that range, it's not going to sound very good.
No, not at all.
And you could even damage the instrument.
Right. It's true.
And it's the same thing with speakers.
So like forcing Barry White to hit those Mariah Carey high notes,
Exactly.
it's just not going to sound right.
It's not going to sound good, and it could hurt the speaker.
Okay, so walk me through those different types of speakers and what they do.
Sure, so you've got your tweeters. Those
Yeah.
are the small speakers.
Yeah.
And they're designed to handle those high frequencies, like the really high notes, things like cymbal crashes,
Yeah.
the sizzle of a hi-hat,
Okay.
those really crisp high vocals.
Okay.
So that's what your tweeters are doing.
All right, so they're handling the shimmer, the shine,
Exactly.
the high end?
Yeah, the sparkle.
Yeah, okay.
Then you've got your mid-range drivers, and those are kind of like the workhorse of the speaker system.
Mm.
They cover most of the frequencies that you hear, like vocals, guitars,
Yeah.
pianos, most of the instruments that kind of make up the melody of a song.
All right, so they're kind of the heart of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They're the heart of the music.
Okay.
And then you've got your woofers, and everybody knows the woofer, right?
Right.
That's the big speaker. Usually that's what gives you that really low end, the bass that you feel in your chest.
So when we talk about woofers, we're talking about bass, we're talking about the kick drum,
Exactly.
that stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So you've got those three main types of speakers, and they all work together to create that full range of sound.
Okay, so why can't we just have one speaker that does it all?
That's a good question.
Why do we even need this conductor, this crossover?
You know how some instruments just sound off when they try to play notes outside of their comfortable range?
I can only imagine, yeah.
Like if you had a tuba trying to hit a high C, it's just not going to sound very good, right?
No.
And you might even damage the tuba.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably hurt the tuba trying to make it do that.
It's kind of like that with speakers. If you try to force a woofer, which is designed to move large volumes of air slowly to produce high-pitched sounds, you're going to get distortion.
Okay.
And it's going to sound muddy and unclear.
Interesting.
It's all about efficiency and precision.
Okay.
You want each driver to focus on the frequencies that it's best equipped to handle.
Gotcha. It's like using the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
So how does the crossover actually make sure the right frequencies are going to the right drivers? That's what I'm curious about. It's like there's a little conductor in there
Right.
that's analyzing the music
Yeah.
as it's coming in and saying, okay, you go to the tweeter, you go to the woofer.
Yeah, it's like having a little tiny sound engineer inside the speaker.
Right,
But
exactly.
it's actually a bit simpler than that.
Okay.
The crossover uses what are called filters, electronic filters.
Filters. Okay. So like I used to make my Instagram selfies look all cool.
Kind of, but instead of changing colors, these are changing sounds.
Okay.
These filters,
That's it.
they only let certain frequencies of sound pass through.
Okay.
So there are three main types.
Okay.
You've got your low-pass filter, your high-pass filter, and your band-pass filter.
Okay. Break those down.
Okay, so imagine the low-pass filter
Okay.
as like a bouncer standing in front of a club.
Okay.
And this bouncer only lets in the really big,
Okay.
heavy bass, low-end frequencies.
Okay.
So those frequencies can pass right through and go straight to the woofer.
Need top-quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.
Got it. So it's like the bouncer who can only hear the really low sounds.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. So it's only letting those really low frequencies through.
Okay.
And then you've got your high-pass filter. That's like the bouncer at a different club.
Okay.
This one's all about those high-energy,
Go ahead.
high-frequency sounds. So it lets in like the shimmering cymbals,
Okay.
soaring vocals, that kind of thing.
Got it.
But it blocks anything that's too low.
Okay, so we've got the low frequencies going to the woofers,
Right.
high frequencies going to the tweeters.
Yep.
What about everything in between?
That's a great question.
Where's that going?
That's where the bandpass filter comes in.
Okay.
That's like the bouncer at the most exclusive club in town,
Okay.
only letting in frequencies that fall within a specific range.
Okay.
So that's going to be your mid-range frequency.
Got it. So they're handling like the meat of the music?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the vocals, guitars,
Pianos.
things like that.
Okay, got it. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So every speaker has these filters in them.
Well, not every speaker. It depends on the type of crossover,
Oh, okay.
because there are a couple of different types. The most common type is called a passive crossover.
Passive.
And those are built into most standard speaker systems.
So those are kind of just along for the ride.
Yeah, they're pre-configured at the factory
Oh.
to work with the specific drivers in that speaker.
Okay.
They're simple, they're affordable, and they get the job done for most everyday listening.
Got it. And they're called passive
Passive.
because they just kind of do their thing. You don't really have to mess with them.
Exactly, they're already set up.
Okay, so what's the catch? There's got to be another level to this.
Well, yeah, there's always a catch, right?
Right.
The trade-off with passive crossovers is that they're not very flexible.
Okay.
So you're stuck with the manufacturer's settings,
Okay.
which may not be ideal for your specific room or your listening preferences.
Got it. Okay.
It's kind of like, if you order a combo meal at a restaurant,
Right.
you get what you get, you don't get upset.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. But if you're the kind of person who likes to customize their order,
Right.
Right.
You want to be able to choose exactly what you want.
Yes.
That's where active crossovers come in.
Okay, so tell me about active crossovers.
Active crossovers are like having a professional mixing board
Okay.
for your speakers.
Okay.
So they give you the ability to fine-tune exactly which frequencies are going to each driver.
Oh, wow.
So you can create like the perfect sonic balance for your listening environment.
So with an active crossover, you could adjust I don't know if I'm using the right terms here, but like the crossover points.
Yes,
We're
exactly.
deciding, okay, this frequency and above goes to the tweeter.
Exactly.
This frequency and below goes to the woofer.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have a lot more control.
So it's like being able to fine-tune those bouncers at all those different clubs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it can really make a big difference in the sound.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, it's like we're getting really deep into how to be an audio engineer.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for the average listener, maybe who's never even thought about this stuff before,
Right.
to understand, like, how much goes into
Yeah, absolutely.
a good sounding speaker.
It's more than just plugging in a speaker and turning it on.
Right. Exactly.
There's a lot of science that goes into it.
So for the average listener at home, how would a crossover or having a good crossover, how does that actually benefit me?
That's a great question. It's like the difference between listening to a song on a really cheap, teeny speaker
Okay.
versus listening to it on a really high-end system
Got it.
where you can hear all the details.
Yeah, yes.
All the instruments are clear.
It's like you can hear everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a good crossover is a big part of that.
Okay, so it brings out those details.
It does. It helps. Yeah.
It's like you were saying earlier, it lets
Right.
each speaker
Right.
kind of work in its sweet spot.
Exactly. And when each speaker is working in its sweet spot,
Yeah.
the whole system just sounds better.
Right. And then nothing's
Right.
getting overworked.
Exactly. And,
Okay.
a lot of times they'll blow a tweeter
Okay.
because they're running too much power to it.
Oh,
Or they're trying to get it to play frequencies that it's not designed to play.
right, right.
And so the crossover helps to protect the speakers as well.
So it's like those bouncers are also acting as security guard,
Exactly.
making sure nothing gets broken.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So with the active crossovers,
Right.
where you can kind of adjust where those crossover points are,
Yes.
do you have any like tips for somebody who might be
Yeah.
getting into that for the first time? Like, where do I even begin?
That's a great question. It really depends on your speakers
Okay.
and your listening preferences. But a good rule of thumb
Okay.
is to start with the low pass filter.
Okay.
So that's the one that's controlling the bass,
Okay.
and set that somewhere between 60 and 80 hertz.
Okay.
That's a good starting point for most systems.
Okay. So if I'm listening to a lot of bass-heavy music, I might
Yeah.
want to set it a little bit lower.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're listening to a lot of hip hop, electronic music,
Okay.
you might want to set it closer to 60.
Got it.
If you're listening to more like classical music or jazz, something where you don't need that really deep bass,
Right.
you could set it a little bit higher, maybe 80 or even 100 hertz.
Okay.
And then for the high pass filter
Okay.
that's controlling the tweeter,
Uh-huh.
you can usually set that somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 hertz.
Okay, so higher for like that really crisp, bright sound.
Exactly.
Lower for something a little bit more mellow.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Okay, cool.
And then the mid-range will just kind of fall in between those 2 points.
Okay, cool. This has been super helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned a lot about something that I never really even thought about before.
Yeah, it's one of those things that once you start paying attention to it,
Right,
you
yeah.
can't really unhear it.
Exactly. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for this deep dive into speaker crossovers.
Absolutely. Glad we could do it.
So, listeners, next time you're listening to music, just think about all the stuff that's going on
Yeah.
to make that sound good.
It's pretty amazing.
And maybe take a closer listen
You're right.
to those different frequencies and see if you can hear what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Awesome. This has been The Deep Dive.
See you next time.
Need top quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.